Today I'm going to show you guys how I made this entryway table with a walnut herringbone top. You guys, this is made with leftover flooring. It's beautiful and any beginner can do this. Stick around, let me show you how. Okay, so I am still building on my apartment balcony right now, so I'm using a lot of pre-milled lumber, and Lowe's is the place I've been going. They have some great pre-milled poplar pieces that are 2x2 pieces that I decided to use for the base. So I'm going to grab those really quickly. It is the 2x2 by 4 foot pieces, and we'll take those home and begin the process. I'm also still using my Hart miter saw. This is a mini miter saw. It's 7 1/4 inch saw, and it does not slide. It's just a standing miter, which is perfect for this. The 2x2s are no problem for it, and I have my spider framing blade on there right now, which cuts like a dream. So we're gonna cut these down to the right height first. Now, I really like my entry tables to be 36 inches high. I feel like it really draws the eye up, makes the space look a little bigger. So because my top is 3/4 of an inch, each of these legs are gonna be 35.25 inches long. So I'm gonna cut all 4 of those first. Next, I'm gonna cut these pieces, but there is a discrepancy in what I'm cutting and what is on the plans. These were originally meant to be 2x2s, just like the legs, but due to COVID, the supply chain's been really messed up, so they didn't have what I needed. So instead, I grabbed 1x2s for the leg cross pieces, and then also for my cross piece on top between each leg. And then I went to 2x2 for the V or the triangle shape. Those are 2x2s. So I took those 1x2s and I cut 11-inch pieces for the legs, and I cut 4 total, 1 for the top and bottom of each side. Then I cut the 2 cross pieces that would go at the top of the table. And these measurements are adjustable depending on what you need, but for mine, they're 36 inches. So I cut 2 1x2s at 36 inches and 1 2x2 at 36 inches. Next, I add pocket holes to all the cross pieces on the entire table, the 11-inch pieces and the 36-inch pieces. Now, if you're new to pocket hole jigs, I do have a video about this kreg jig, and you can click on that here. And this is where I want the table to go, and things are getting kind of chilly here on the balcony, so I brought it in to assemble. I also wanted to make sure that the legs were level and my balcony slightly off. I really want these 1x2s to attach to the 2x2s on the edge. So in order to do so, I used another 1x2 as a spacer below it as I screwed in the piece. I did this on both the top and the bottom. I did bring the bottom one up 2.5 inches from the floor. I like to do this so that I can sweep underneath my pieces. Next, I attached the 36-inch cross pieces on both the front and back, and I'm doing the same thing and bracing it with the 1x2. Then I put the bottom 2x2 on by flipping it over. I did have a helper because all my clamps are in storage. And that is most of the frame. I did use Titebond Glue, and I decided to give it 24 hours to dry before I did anything else. Next, I wanted to add a middle cross piece to be a nice brace for the herringbone top pattern that I would be doing. By adding this 1x4 down the middle of the piece, the herringbone would be able to rest on that safely, nicely, sturdily, and I wouldn't have to do any kind of backer board behind it. So I decided to attach that, and then of course I'm on the balcony, so I had to put this plastic up so that I could spray. I am using a heat gun to remove the stickers that come on these boards sometimes. It makes it go a lot faster. And I'm using Rustoleum Satin Black for the legs and the base. As usual, I'll make sure that all the things that I'm using in this video are in the description below or on my blog post. Here I'm just finishing removing all those stickers and doing the second side of the table. It was a really windy day. I do have some 2x2s there on the ground that I'll be using for the V pattern in the middle, but I wanted to get the top and everything situated before cutting those. Okay, pause the video. We need to talk about this herringbone pattern really quickly. I wanted to pause the video for just a second and talk about is the difference between chevron and herringbone. And first off, chevron is where, let's see, you have two pieces cut at a 45 and they meet together like that and create a pattern down. Herringbone is where you have two flat ends like so, and you are putting them together like this in this pattern, and then you stagger the pieces. That's herringbone. So chevron, herringbone, two different patterns. Now I'm gonna walk you through really quickly the way that I do herringbone. People do it all different ways. There's not a right way or a wrong way, but I like to have even cuts on either side of the pattern. So let me walk you through and show you how I figure that out. So the very first thing I like to do is mark center on my board or on the place where I'm going to be putting the pattern. And the way that you do this is obviously you measure across, and this board is 12 inches, so I'm gonna mark it at 6. I'm using purple, so hopefully you guys can see this. There's my center line. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my metal square here, I'm gonna line it right up with that purple line. Oops, that didn't line up just right, hang on. That's what happens when you work with a crayon instead of... Okay, there's one side, and then you take this, and we're gonna mark this other side. Right there. Okay. Now we have where we're going to put our pattern. Now herringbone, let's see here. I also need to mark center. You want to snap a center line down your entire project piece. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's my center line. Now with my center line, let me move you in closer. Okay, let's see if I can explain this. Now that I have my sides marked, my 45s marked, and a center line marked, a lot of people will take their pieces and they will just line them right up with that 45 corner, and they'll put this corner here. The problem with that is that as your pattern continues, you will have offcuts. So one side will have different measurements than the other side, and your herringbone will look slightly slanted or off. So what you want to do is move it so that the line creates kind of a triangle between both pieces, which then enables the same amount of cuts on one side and the other. So you can see here that I've lined this up. I have a little triangle. If I were to draw a line, let's see, where's my square? Right through the center here. You can see there's the same amount here as there is here. And that is perfect. And what that's gonna do is enable me then to have the same size cuts on this side and that side, and the center will look more even. So then my next piece would come up here like so, and then you'd put another piece here, and that line would continue on. It would be the same size throughout the entire pattern. There you go. So now if I were to continue this pattern, because of where my center line is, it would be even on both sides and continue all the way down the pattern. So you can line your top pieces up with these 45s on either side to ensure your angle is correct as you go down and doesn't shift, and just make sure that center line goes through it. Okay, so we can start this back again, and I am doing exactly what I just explained, trying to find center and make sure that my pattern is right on, and doing a dry fit of this flooring. This flooring's Ton and Groove, it's walnut, it's beautiful, and if you can find flooring, I'll go ahead and put a link, but if you can find unfinished walnut or hardwood flooring of any kind, it is really helpful with a herringbone pattern. You can use that Ton and Groove to ensure straightness and flatness. You don't have to mill anything up, plane anything. It just saves a lot of work, and it's beautiful. So now that my pattern is accurate, I like where it is, I'm gonna glue all the pieces together. Now my time was running short on the balcony. Things were gonna get really cold that night, so I used some Power Grab by Loctite glue to do this because it dries really, really fast. You can just put a bead of glue and it holds on and grabs really quickly and hardens really fast. If I did not have this time crunch, I would go back with the Titebond 1 because it's waterproof and just a little bit more durable as far as wood expansion goes. But I think this Loctite will be just fine. I also don't expect a lot of wood movement with this walnut flooring anyway, so this should be fine. Now I grab my circular saw with a straight piece of wood as my guide. I marked that edge and used my circular saw to straighten out one side of the table. Again, I have my spider blade on there, love those blades, and this is the fine finish blade, so there's a lot less tear out, leaves a really nice smooth finish. I'm doing this on the back as well. The sides as well. You can see where I've marked my edge. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach the framing. I'm using this Ryobi pin nailer, and I grabbed some 1x2 walnut pieces from Home Depot. Again, I'm using my Loctite because it's fast and I don't have my clamps. And basically you just put a little bit of glue on the edge. You cut those 1x2 pieces to the exact length of your piece and width of your piece. I do the sides first so that the front piece I can measure correctly to cover both side pieces. Ignore those little bits of glue. I wanted to show you what a pin nail looks like. It's very different from an 18 gauge nail or finish nail. There is the pin right there. That's actually just a chunk that was bumped into. That's not actually a nail. The nail is smaller than that, if you can see it right there. And that's what a pin nail is great for. You can jam it in, hold the piece, you barely see that pin, and it holds the piece in place while the glue dries. Now it's time to cut the V shape, and I basically take the 2x2, mark the top and bottom at the angle that is needed, cut it with my miter saw. There's the angle, and so I shift my miter saw to cut that exact angle. It kind of saves from having to do a lot of math if you hold it up and mark it. Then you can cut that angle and attach it to the base. Again, I'm going to use my pin nailer and Loctite glue to hold this in place. If you don't have a pin nailer, clamps work great. I just don't have my clamps right now, and the pin nailer worked. So this flooring has already been sanded, so I'm basically taking some 120 grit paper over the top just to erase any glue marks or pencil marks that I made during the process of building. And this new Mirka sander and Festool extractor has made it so I kind of like sanding a little more than I used to. All right, now we're gonna fill some holes with this STARBOND. Let me show you how to do these knots. So I really like using this STARBOND because it's instant as far as curing. So any void, you can take this STARBOND. I like black, they have clear and brown. You put a little in there and then you spray this accelerator on it, which makes it harden within 30 seconds or less. And then you can sand, so it's pretty immediate. I'm gonna go ahead and add this a few times. This void was a little deeper, so it took a couple times. You don't want to make it too thick. You need to kind of do it in steps. Oh, you can see it seal up right there. And then you can sand it down flush. Now we're ready to finish. I'm gonna use this ODIES oil, and oh my gosh, I love it. It was really easy to put on. It smells really good. And then you just buff it off at the end. And the colors that it brought out of this walnut were pretty amazing. Finished, beautiful, and time to bring it in. I've had all this decor waiting since we moved into this apartment to utilize when I built this table. I just attached the top here with a little 3/4 inch screws, or you can use figure 8 pieces and then style with your own decor as you see fit. And there you have it. It's all done. I couldn't be more happy. As always, everything will be in the description and on my blog where you can find plans. If you have questions, let me know. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And it always helps me a lot if you leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think and what you want to see. I'll see you next time.